your question about stop and frisk, let me say this. The number 685,000 was put out as stops, and it sounds like a huge number, but when you put it in the context of 23 million stops, and you also put it in the context of 19,600 patrol officers that we have, it amounts to less than one stop a week by patrol officers. Everything is bigger here in New York City. And as I said, the number what supposedly went up dramatically, it really didn't. Anybody who knows about this knows that the number didn't go up. It just wasn't being recorded appropriately. It may have gone up somewhat, but we required officers to record what they were doing more appropriately. And we want people to work, and we want certain metrics to measure what they're doing.
I mean, I think some of my impression of it comes less from the statistics than just having African American colleagues over the years talking about how different it is walking the streets of New York if you're black rather than if you're white, and how often doing things that I would do, somebody will get stopped, and the feeling that you're treated very differently. So somebody walking, in or out of a house to visit somebody is much more likely to be stopped and frisked if they're African American than if they're white. So that obviously there's a good deal of concern about that, and I mean, is that something you recognize?
Sure,
as
absolutely.
A problem?
We're sensitive to that issue. I wouldn't want to be stopped. I don't want my time taken away from me. But if you look at the numbers that we talked about, the lives that have been saved, I think, is dramatic. And where is it happening? It's happening in minority communities. In 1990, we had 2,245 murders in this city at a population of 7.3 million people. 2012, we had 418 murders in a population of 8.4 million people. Yeah. Those lives saved are people of color. Right. And we understand that there's a sensitivity. We put in major training programs. There's an ongoing training program. We're using lawyers. We're using sort of customer service training. Mm-hmm. It is something that has to be done with dignity and respect. And as a matter of fact, the complaints in this area have gone down significantly, as has the stops. With this year, it'll be, or I was going to say this year, 2012, we'll have about 530,000 stops, which is significantly below the supposed 685,000.
Is that partly a response to the criticisms, or is that for some other reason?
Think we found out that people were making out some of these forms inappropriately. Mm-hmm. We redeployed people who were in the areas where it's more likely to affect these stops, and we did, as I say, put in this major training initiative. I hope and I believe that it's being done in a more professional, a more sensitive way, and that's our goal, to continue to do it. But it's an important tool, and if somehow it's eliminated, people are going to suffer. Are people in those areas that are most plagued by crime.